So, I don't know, maybe we'll start from this side, right? And say, is there anything that you guys, within your, as a performer or composer, you just felt like you want to talk about? What just happened?
I had a lot of fun.
You did?
That's a good place to start. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Kind of needed, right, these days, I think. And I think that was probably in the spirit of how these pieces developed. We just, when we started the quarter, I think we didn't really know where these pieces were going. I think some of you had some ideas that you wanted to try, but it became really theatrical very quickly. And I think, why not just, go for fun in some ways, and weirdness and strangeness maybe. But anybody else have any thoughts?
I really liked how every time we would play it, all of us, we would have different ideas about how to interpret it. So even now in the concert, it has never sounded like this before, which was actually very, very interesting to kind of experience throughout the entire quarter.
Yeah, and you're a piano,
Yeah, like
a graduate student
classical
piano performance. Yeah.
Mozart, Beethoven. That's my area. So this was definitely outside my.
And now the whirly tube.
Exactly.
Heard you're switching your major to boomwhacker though.
Yeah, I was considering.
Yeah, please.
I want to share how amazing was the experience of working with each of the classmates on 209. I really felt that each of us brought something unique and different, and that regardless of that, it was actually nurturing to the other pieces. Like I think I learned a lot from Willis, from James and Lisa, and I don't know. I really love the collaborative spirit. I wanna say it is delicate, right? I don't want to fall into comparisons, but previous experiences of composition groups, I always felt this competition thing there, but I didn't feel that at all with this group and with this quarter. Like, this is amazing. Like, each of us was doing something special, and yeah, that was, I think, my biggest joy of this quarter. Thank you.
I'll add, today was the first time I saw, all the pieces, run through, because I'm not in the performance class this quarter, but I felt like we were able to put on, everyone's vision, or, close to everyone's vision, and I really felt each piece, having its own individuality, like you said, and I really liked, I felt like yours was, a really story arc, and it felt like there was a plot, and, it was very cool how it moved. Yours, I finally saw how the video and everyone's, thing related to each other, and, when the wig came off or on, I was like, oh, that's the middle point, because it's, reflecting, so it was, an aha moment for me. Yeah, and then for your piece, really, it was very interesting how, the I don't know, atmosphere, temperature of it changed between the hit and the hum, how you're using the same material, but it's just this whole other sound world, and so yeah, thank you.
I don't know, maybe, is there anything that you might want to share in terms of your observations, or just questions? Yes, of course.
I wondered if people laughed when you thought they might laugh, and if you expected laughs, or if they came when you didn't expect them, what that was like.
I can start. For me, I play violin. It's this is probably our first concert that I was like, I have a concert, but I don't have my violin with me, and it's very weird. It's very strange, but because my life as a performer has been longer, I always enjoyed pieces where I had fun playing in it. So now as a composer, that's probably my main thing is I want my performers and the audience to feed off that energy and just enjoy playing the piece. So I hope in my piece, everyone says it was fun. So it's fun even just changing the cards. But yeah, so for me that's always kind of the goal.
I there was a margin of freedom, really, like, even going to the unexpected, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what I thought of when I was there, and ended up like,
Yeah, I think-
way to
I think-
portray dizziness,
yeah.
right? It's like I feel like in a spaceship, and that's the thing that it's inviting to be a child. That's what I felt with this piece. Like it was an invitation just to be silly, be child, and then continue on James. So in James, because you saw my piece, and I tried to be like ritualistic, ceremonial, and then I'm asking James, how do you want me to switch the instrument? And he's like, the most awkward you can, the better. I am an awkward person, so music is awkward. And the more awkward possible, the better. I love it. And then with James too, right? It was in the same time as ludic as playful, but those harmonies, just those instruments, both the moonwalkers and the speakers, at some moments were like, wow, some beautiful harmonies, moments that make you stop and oh, it's nice, right? Yeah, so it's great.
Anything else? I don't know.
I'll say that as we were developing these works, Kojiro asked us to think about transitions and also I forgot the other one. But I think in each of these pieces, well, the other thing I guess I'd add to that is that he had us have we also had a bunch of one-on-one where we explained the pieces to each other and talked, and the relationships between things, I think, developed in a really methodical way where we really, the relationships and the transitions really developed through these dialogues, and the dialogue almost seemed to be happening within the piece as well as within each other. And I think as the pieces developed, I think we saw so many commonalities, especially in terms of how we were dealing, the various ways we dealt with theatricality and musicality. They were both really present in all of our pieces and in the performances. And they were also, the performances themselves were all really, I don't know, it's other people have said before that, you know, like certain types of pieces ask the performers to finish the composition, so to speak. And I think that it goes beyond that even, but it was definitely the case that, you know, what we did as the composer, so to speak, and what the performers do as the performer is there's a lot of fluidity there. The boundaries, I mean, if you want to talk about composing transitions, we were composing the areas between those roles of the composer and the performer, and I think also the audience too. And that's and because I think that ultimately the way that we worked together and developed our ideas in conversation, I think really made another, you know, that extended beyond simply composer performer. That made the audience, because we were each other's audiences as we were developing the piece. So that wall that traditionally is considered not something that one really passes when they develop the piece. That was very much a part of what we were thinking beyond that. And that's so the theatricality and the way that you all felt very, theoretically, it seems like everybody felt very much a part. I think when people laugh at a piece, they feel like they're a part of what's going on, more so than when they're just enjoying, just experiencing something. Like laughter really brings people together in a different way and transgresses that threshold a little bit. And I think that really happens in, I don't know, that's something that working with Ko for many years now, I see how the types of scenarios he sets up really facilitate that openness, which is really critical to these works and what makes them, I think, really beautiful.
Kind of interesting because 4 of us are in the composing class and 4 of us are in the performing class, and so that means that 2 of us are in both, and then 2 are just in one or the other. And in general, it was just kind of small group, you know. And so I think one of, at least my initial thought projects at the beginning of trying to sort out the first version of the score for the composing side of things was, you know, how to write for this smaller kind of ensemble with, you know, kind of a little band of misfits in a way, you know, like we have all the, or, you know, different instruments we're bringing in and whatnot. And on the performing side in the ensemble, it seemed like it was a little bit challenging in a similar kind of way to sort of to figure out how to fill the ensemble with the 4 of us that we had in there. And I think there was a lot of partnerships between the 2 classes, and those of us in both kind of wore the 2 different hats and try to take off the composer hat.
Wigs for your in your
Wigs,
case.
yeah. Wigs, yeah.
Yes.
Thanks, James. Yeah. So that was kind of interesting, and then I thought it was also interesting because coming out of that, how much of what we did tonight was not doing our normal shtick, you know. So, I mean, maybe that's a bad way to put it. Maybe this is our normal shtick, right, James? But yeah, we asked a lot of each other and to stretch and do things, and so, and part of the process, you know, I think Co is encouraging us to listen and figure out how to be an ensemble and how to take all these weird, different, you know, quirky things that we were doing, but then hone the musicality in it and find the things that are about, you know, listening together and, you know, the things that are more traditional that we could have applied to if we had done something a little more novel or something. So it was an interesting journey into the abyss.
Oh yeah, we're gonna crawl out of it, right? And, any other comments? I don't want to go too much at length. I know everybody has been really gracious with their time here.
Well, I liked the venue because it was close and we could really feel like we were with you, and it made it a lot more fun than if you were up on a stage and we were back here. At least for me.
That's a really, really great observation, because Jackie, I was actually, if there were not any more comments, my last question was going to be something along the lines of, okay, we just presented some music / you know, works of performance art, right? In some ways, that might be a little bit too much of a stretch, but where does it belong, right? Where does this music really belong? And you could think of it, you could answer that in terms of venue, because I'm curious to know, like hearing from you. Because some of the idea behind this quarter's creative practices and contemporary ensemble is actually to go out and play it outside of off campus, right, and share it with the public in some ways. But these pieces are pretty unique in terms of, you know, it's not like we can go up in Disney Hall and just kind of, you know, do that. We could, I suppose.
I mean, why not?
Why not? Exactly. But where does this? Where do these works belong, right? And I don't know, maybe that's not a great question, but I'm just trying to think about, you know, how we intersect with music in our daily lives and where this kind of thing might fit in. So I don't know if anybody has any answers for that, or should I just shut up?
It's a good call.
Rebecca, anything? Sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you know the
no,
rules.
It's all good. No need to pass. I've got an answer.
Oh, good.
I agree that I think these pieces were suited to a hall like this, where you know there's no hard and fast distinction between who you know who the performers are and who the audience is. It can kind of mix and mingle a little bit, you know. So if I were to put on this concert again and take it somewhere else, I'd be kind of carefully looking at the floor plan, see, you know, how intimate the space is, because I wouldn't want to put on this music anywhere too sterile.
Yeah. Shivangi, do you have any thoughts? I mean, your instrument is the piano. Piano tends to have a limited sort of range of where you might actually, you know, concertize or perform it in, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just having done this, and just how has your mind opened up, or what kind of thoughts will you have in terms of where this music belongs?
Well, I think it also really depends about the size of the ensemble. Like I feel like since we were just 4 performers, this space was actually like quite perfect for that, to create that atmosphere. Probably if it was an ensemble of like 50 people, then we might use the Disney Hall for that. But
yeah, we might. So it's an okay hall.
yeah, but
Adequate.
in terms of like the size of the hall, I think even with these pieces that we have, like they can be slightly adjusted based on the hall. Like one thing I've really enjoyed this quarter was to see like how ideas after ideas are being piled up and the piece is evolving, and I feel like that could be still done in the future depending on where it's performed. Depending on like what kind of hall we have, the piece can evolve towards that as well and have changes or
Bouncing off that thought, I have a question to pose to all of us. People who wrote pieces, so 209 folks, if we did have more than 4 people in the contemporary ensemble, could you imagine the piece you had performed tonight being performed by more than 4 people? Yes or no, and why not?
Ooh, good. I like that.
Well, I'd love to take that one because it gives me an opportunity to say something I would have said if I had another 45 seconds in the introduction. Which is that my piece is designed to be to have it's a set length, but the intention is to do many of them, and they can be combined in any combination. So this is 4 solo pieces. My piece was, and if it was, my vision is 17 pieces that can be combined in any combination. 17 solo pieces, any number of duets or trios, etc., and any combination of that, all carefully timed so that all these interesting things happen between the video and the live performance. Well, that's what I can say about my piece. I bet others.
I don't know, other
thoughts too.
composers?
Yeah, I think it could scale. I was kind of imagining that I had enough stuff, or found enough stuff in the closets around the building to make it for this size ensemble. So, but I mean, boom whackers are on Amazon, so could have happened. But yeah, I could imagine it scaling.
I will have to make more whistles.
Right?
Oh, you didn't explain
Fabrizio
that.
made all
Oh,
of this.
you didn't explain. He actually made those doubles whistles,
Wow.
you know, and had them in a kiln and everything, like from scratch. So yeah.
Gee.
Hey, yeah, you got claps for that one.
One army.
Yeah, you're gonna be busy if we do this for 50 people. Yeah.
I'll have to make a mold. And
Hire.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
No, and I have to say, yes, one little thing of doing those instruments was special because it was also made thinking of each of the people, and some guys you're thinking, how's this person? And okay, like just the fact that I'm thinking of this person while I'm doing it, I think it's something meaningful, and I correlate that to imagine how was this practice centuries ago, right, with these ancestors who would use the instrument. So many things that happen when you're holding and manipulating the clay, but I think, and I finish with this idea, it's just a metaphor, right, that God made the man out of mud, of clay, pretty much. So it's also gives you something of a creative, very a creative power that I don't think it's just about making things, also about feeling things.
Mm. Lisa, do you want to
Oh yes.
finish up? Yeah.
In my score, I was, because like at some point there's 2 puppets there, I was thinking, okay, 5 people is like the minimum number I can have, so like the musical texture doesn't get too thin. So if there was like even one more person, like I think it would change the piece a lot. But my simple answer is like 5 was like the bare minimum. And like,
Can you imagine
Yeah.
a maximum though?
yeah, I think in my piece I wrote like 5 to 10 people recommended. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to try it out with more people.
Yeah.
So, if there are no other burning questions from this side of the room, or no other burning comments, or we're good? Okay. Thank you very much to all of you, right, for being here and just allowing us to process some of these thoughts as well.
Yeah, I don't have a question. I just
Yeah.
wanna say that I really enjoyed it, and the way you all worked together and all had fun together was just as enjoyable as listening to everything too. Just watching you guys all have fun together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's really good. We'll close with that one. And if you're interested, look forward to a possible performance of the same set, somewhere in this world, somewhere else in this world.
Not the next.
Thank you very much.